Unium is the subscription management hub for B2B SaaS companies. Whether you're looking to expand to new markets, experimenting with pricing models, or simply want a streamlined quote-to-cash process, Unium got your back. On top of that, Unium Insights provides the SaaS metrics you need for reporting to the board and for future company evaluation. It gives you the key figures needed to drive your business forward and take strategic decisions. Unium. We help SaaS companies manage their B2B customer subscriptions.
Welcome to Startuprad.io, your podcast and YouTube blog covering the German startup scene with news, interviews, and live events.
Startuprad.io, your startup podcast and YouTube blog from Germany, as well as founder and host of the world's first tech entrepreneurship radio called Startup.radio. I would like to welcome you to an annual tradition, the FinTech Review Germany, Austria, and Switzerland 2022. We are airing this on a regular basis on the 25th of December, meaning on a regular basis since more than 7 years. This is a review of the most important events in FinTech from the perspective of our guests. Keep in mind that since the first FinTech review, the field has changed and broadened a lot. Really, a lot. Where it used to be only payment apps, now there's insurance, crypto, prop tech, banking, SME banking, capital markets, and much, much more. So we thought we would invite guests from a very diverse background to give their perspective on the time of Corona 2022 and an outlook for the next year 2023. We would be more than happy if you would rate and review us either on YouTube, the podcast app of your choice you're listening to right now, or the internet radio station. I would therefore like to welcome our guests. Mary, CEO and co-founder of Insmo.
Hello, Joe. Doing good. Excited to be here.
Luca, CEO and co-founder of the credit platform Exelon.
Hey, Jan. It's a pleasure being here.
Henrik, CEO and co-founder of crypto custody bank Finoa.
Well, Jörn, thank you for having me and great to be on this podcast. So I'm Henrik, co-founder and co-CEO of Berlin-based crypto custodian Finoa. I'm very happy to talk about what happened in 2022 and looking into 23, of course.
And finally, our steady guest for the FinTech Review, Frank Schwab, who is the co-founder of the FinTech Forum, an annual event here in Frankfurt, where early stage FinTechs get matched with investors as well as multiple supervisory board members, including banks.
Hello, how are you, Joe? I'm Frank Schwab. I work as a professional board member, and I'm also a co-founder of the German FinTech Forum since 2013.
Glad to have you all here. Shall we get started with the questions right away? What was the most important development in the FinTech world in 2022?
I think it was all about customer experience because a lot of companies also post-COVID put a lot of efforts into designing the best customer experiences. And it's a trend that will continue also in the coming years because we have seen that the pioneers in customer experience will win the game. So everything about automizing processes and providing instant experiences will win the game.
That's a very interesting question, given that 2022 almost feels like a pretty big roller coaster. In my opinion, the main shift that we realized was definitely a big shift towards sustainability, and not only sustainability as in show your alignment with some sustainable development goals, but we definitely feel like this is also something that more and more companies, especially when they're fundraising or even companies when they're borrowing money, will have to start integrating into their business concept, into their financial planning. So we also see a lot of regulatory pressure in that space. with the emergence of, NFRD, the implementation of other sustainable financial disclosure regulation. So this was definitely something that was felt very much, apart from obviously, some market turbulences, rising interest rates, and some of the other ramifications this has had on the lending markets where we're active.
In my personal opinion, let me I'm not going to go so much into fintech in general. I mean, I'm very sure you have a lot of great speakers there. So let me focus on crypto. I mean, obviously, we've all seen the news. The crypto bear market hit us quite hard this year with the infamous FTX collapse just a few weeks back. That obviously set the industry into quite some chaos, even at some time. Now we kind of see the aftermath of the downfall of the exchange. See kind of the business models and the market value chain also kind of reshuffle a little bit, and I think that was clearly the most important development that, from our perspective, working in crypto, was observable.
So from my point of view, we have seen a shift from pure growth, customer growth, revenue, towards more attention towards profitability. And that goes basically hand in hand with cost cutting. So a significant release of staff of various fintech companies, startups, but as well as traditional banks. And probably the most important development in 2022 was the rebalance of valuations. What we have seen is that fintech companies and startups who seeking money, they still get money, less than before, but to sometimes lower and in a few cases and prominent cases, significant lower valuations. And I think that's basically one of the most important.
Do you think fintech has peaked in terms of investments, as some data suggests?
Yeah, it looks like that 2021 was probably one of the peak years when it comes to fintech investment. But even in 2021, there were less companies, but they did get more because it was beyond Series B, C, D, sometimes even E. And actually that trend continued in 2022. So even here, less companies got more, but as from a total point of view, less companies also got less, and for sure at lower valuations. I think the Klarna example was one of the outstanding ones where, let's say, 80 to 90% of decrease in valuation compared to the financing round before. And that created pressure for the whole ecosystem. But also after, let's say, 8 years of growth, so I'm looking at this ecosystem since 2013, and we had grown year by year. So it's clear at some point in time, growth will stop and markets will consolidate. So I think from a technology point of view, it's still an early market, but let's say the growth was significant over the last 8 to 10 years, and that now stops. And of course, the overall situation of the markets doesn't help.
Yes and no. I think for the time being, that's clearly a yes, if you look at the data, but that would then somehow also mean that we've seen kind of the end development of finance fintech in general, right? So I think we are just weathering a global recession where you just see a slowdown in investment in any aspect, in any asset class. And I mean, it's a late stage fintech, even more so as a maybe subset of tech in general. But what I just don't believe is that we are kind of at the end of the innovation cycle, right? Of kind of reshuffling traditional finance. There's still so many stones to be turned. If you just look at how the financial system is still built and on what foundation it is still built. And I think we've just seen the first real maybe 5-7 year hype cycle of fintech, and now we go through a down cycle. Question is going to be how long it will be, but I'm clearly seeing innovation, and with that also funding for the right companies and the right business models coming back in the near future.
I would say that investments, especially in fintech and venture capital, it ebbs and flows. So I would definitely agree that at the moment, or especially the second half of 2022, was pretty much more in a risk-off environment. But we feel like we still have very good conversations with investors, and ultimately, I think it's fairly healthy market shakeout in that sense. We still see that a lot of very good deals are funded, especially if you're in a hot space like AI or ESG. We see definitely very good valuations being achieved, and so I think yes, probably there was some sort of peak that we are beyond as far as fintech venture capital fundraising goes. But I think, good deals and companies with solid fundamentals and good growth projections, as well as a clear path towards profitability, they will definitely still get funding.
No, because one might say that, has the hype of fintech and insurtech passed, but we will definitely see a second wave coming. If not in 2023, then 2024 for sure. We will see a lot of new and exciting developments happening, and we will see also a second wave of investments coming.
What is the next hot topic in fintech? Is crypto making a comeback, or are we all looking at API tools for embedding finance functions?
The crypto comeback. So I think it's definitely one of the trends that are here to stay. Maybe not necessarily the hype around some independent cryptocurrencies, but I believe that a lot of investors and also incumbents in the markets, like banks, asset managers, and so on, they're starting more and more venturing into the areas of digital assets. So I'm not 100% sure about a fully crypto comeback, but when we're talking about digital assets, the concept of tokenization and using that in the wider financial markets, then yes, I definitely think that this is something that is going to be driven forward with the same amount of resources, even more resources, and the same amount of interests from all market participants, because it's fundamentally a very interesting concept. It has clear benefits for investors, especially when you're looking at alternative assets. You can introduce liquidity in corners of markets where it has so far been lacking. You can kind of democratize, investing in alternative assets like real estate or maybe even art and music. So we clearly see that. So in that respect, I think, the crypto wave or digital asset wave is definitely here to stay. And if you want to say it's a comeback, then yeah, it's going to make a comeback. Yeah, I mean, embedded finance is a very big one. I mean, we're focused on the fintech lending space. And I think one of the key drivers in the embedded finance ecosystem is ultimately, bringing financial products like loans to a wider audience, and basically, creating an easier connectivity and an easier access to financial products for underserved market segments, for underserved borrowers. And so I think that is in connection with the focus on ESG and basically the impact that you can show and the impact that you can create by delivering financial products, to a specific audience or to underserved borrowers. I think that has been a very big driver and is and continues to be a very big driver.
I don't think that it's an either or question, right? I think both have their absolute necessity in further innovating the financial markets, both on very important pillars. I mean, obviously, I'm a bit biased working in the crypto space, so I definitely have to say that I think we will see a comeback. And what makes me very, let's say, hopeful and positive about this is, one, I mean, we started Finoa in 2018, right? That was in the middle of the last bear market, which then basically took to 2020 to really come back. And for me, it's a bit of been there, did this. It's more about, let's say, staying calm, staying patient, continue on the strategy, maybe adjusting the strategy where it in the new market reality needs to be adjusted, but don't lose the overall long-term vision that you have in place for your business model. And that's what we are doing at Finoa, and that's why I'm also very positive that we will see a great crypto comeback. The question is when it will be.
The overall situation with crypto, for example, because of FTX bankruptcy, is a little bit sore right now. So it will take time for the market to recover. But again, we will definitely see a comeback also on the crypto side. We will see new initiatives on the crypto side. And until then, we can definitely enjoy some new success stories, everything related about embedded finance and embedded insurance, because these are the services that the customers are still expecting to use, but they are expecting to use them in a seamless way. Nobody will go shopping for insurance or different financial services, so they have to be there and present with different other products and services.
So let's start with embedded. I always said banking needs to be implemented where the underlying real business happens. So banking is in many cases a tool for means, whether it's payments, whether it's supporting businesses with liquidity or credit. So it's an embedded function. Business-wise, and it looks like that now we have the technology and advanced technologies that we can do it technology-wise as well. So therefore, yes, in retail, at the point of sales, embedded will be key because, let's say, you need the money or you need to pay where you basically fulfill your demands and your wants, especially now in Christmas time, right? You don't want to go first to a bank to get your money and then going into the shops. Ideally, you can, let's say, whether it's online or offline, you can handle your banking at the point of sale. And I think this is not only for payments. For payments now it's obvious, but also for credit and liquidity and working capital loans. And let's say we will see more and more solutions where, let's say, the financial aspect of the business is embedded as technology progresses. And yes, not only the next year, but the next years will enable that. When it comes to crypto, if you look at the crypto cycles over the last 10 years, you always had a kind of a cooling down period of 2-3 years. That would basically mean we're in a crypto winter now for the first year or the first 1.5 years. That may take us another year to enter spring. So therefore, I personally believe we need to look at, let's say, the applications, how improved and how convenient the applications are, and what are the underlying value an certain crypto business model provides. And there a couple of, let's say, scenarios and models out there that make a lot of sense, and therefore it a little bit depends, let's say, also on the adaptation of the target groups. I don't expect for next year that it's going mainstream as we have seen 2 years ago, where at least we changed from these kind of nerds and very early innovators to, let's say, early adapters. These early adapters now out of the market again, given also the significantly reduced prices. So that basically means only the ones stay who understand it for real. And therefore, let's say, the applications to use crypto are still in development, and they still need to improve the convenience as well as the business model by itself significantly. So I don't expect significant jumps in 2023. And even for the next 2 years, I personally believe we need to look at some niche markets where the adaptation makes a lot of sense. A niche market may be the metaverse. The niche market may be some gaming applications with, let's say, embedded crypto functionality. So embedded is the key here as well, the key word as well. And at some point in time, we will see, especially that when it comes to back office services in the financial industry, that the adaptation and diffusion of blockchain technologies, and with blockchain technologies, we will see then again the rise of cryptocurrencies because they are again an embedded element in a blockchain ecosystem. So that may take longer, but once that's available, the whole world, when it comes to settlement, clearance, will make use of this much more efficient technology compared to the current, let's say, legacy systems.
If you have one, what was the most interesting fintech development for you during time of Corona?
I guess also from a personal experience, I think the entire neo-broker kind of trend that set in, where just, let's say, everyone, and I saw it among my friends as well, started buying stocks and started stock picking literally on their mobile phone with a bit of their spare monthly money in the bank, right? And maybe even a bit out of boredom sitting at home. So I think that was very interesting development. Unfortunately, what I've also seen is that a lot of friends have lost some money in that investment period. Obviously, because we saw the market peaking end of last year, and since then, especially in tech, because that's obviously for a lot of my circle the interesting stocks that were picked. We have the tech stocks been seen tumbling quite a bit. So that was a very interesting market trend. I mean, obviously, crypto as an investment class also came much more into the spotlight during Corona. And again, a very similar experience, I think, especially on the retail side. A lot of people in Germany would say burnt their fingers by investing and on top of market, and then being out of the money very quickly with their investment. And I think those were the two main factors that I found very interesting during Corona.
Yeah, it was not an event. It was, for me, it was, let's say, the speed of the adaptation rates of digital in general. So there are countries which lagged behind in the digital adaptation of financial services. And that changed in some countries like Eastern Europe dramatically. But even here in Germany, where we had, let's say, a stable online usage. We have seen significant growth when it comes to online brokerage, for example, and other financial online services. So even there, the Corona helped to give it a push. So at least this was, let's say, some kind of progress when it comes to more efficient markets and more efficient behavior.
For us, it definitely gave a new opportunity to work on automation, customer experience, and also the embedded insurance part, because we are 100% embedded insurance company. And it gave us, and the whole market, the whole industry, it gave a lot more opportunities to collaborate with large partnerships, to leverage on the customer bases of large partners, and to really develop new and innovative solutions to tailor new services together with the partnerships, and to really enhance the whole customer experience related to embedded insurance and embedded finance. So I think we saw quite a lot of success stories also together with partnerships, together with embedded insurance and fintech. So I think this was the most interesting part. And also I think during the Corona times, the customers won in terms of new product services and the whole experience so much because of the automation and the digitalization of all the products and services that now the incumbents and banks were kind of forced to do.
If you have one, what was the most important piece of news in 2022?
I think the event in 2022 that shook up the whole fintech or financial world was definitely the bankruptcy of the FTX. We cannot, look over it because it influenced so many funds. It influenced crypto, it influenced stocks, it influenced absolutely everything because the amount of assets they were holding was just so massive. And this is why at the moment, I think a lot of funds, insurtechs, fintechs are suffering because the world is looking towards like what is going to happen now next. How will the crypto will be influenced? How the stocks will be influenced, and how long it will take time to kind of gain again the trust in investing in different assets. So there was definitely a massive influence because of that, and I think it was also the biggest news of 2022.
Yeah, we did come across before. I think the Klarna financing round with a decrease of valuation more than 80%. That's kind of a very strong signal, not only for Klarna, but the overall market. Let's remember when we talked about fintech 9-10 years ago, at the beginning, it was all around payments, right? And still today, payments, cross-border payments, are still a significant part of the overall fintech ecosystems. So the rebalancing of the valuation brought back to from my perspective, reality into the overall market. Also then beyond the payments, fintechs, but also for many other, let's say, fintech sectors, whether it's loan credit or let's say wealth or robo. So all other valuations were also let's say looked at and negotiated on a more realistic and more, let's say, market-based.
I think one very important piece that somewhat went, I felt like, below the radar was the announcement of the crypto FAV, Kryptofondsverordnung, which essentially was a very important corner piece in Germany, in order to, digitize or enable also digital investment vehicles like digital lending funds or digital investment funds and so on. Because this really shows that the regulation has been forming a clear path towards opening up, digital assets to institutional investors. And we see that the regulation is catching up with this new market trend. And this is definitely a very good, very important corner piece in order to foster trust in this market segment. And it should also further, in my opinion, drive the focus and drive investment into this area.
I'd like to answer that again with a view on the crypto market, and I think that goes a bit in hand with what we just talked about earlier. I think the FTX collapse as a single event and impact on the perception of crypto as a market, as an asset class. I think that was the single most important news event of 2022. And had the biggest impact overall that really even trickled into, let's say, the non-crypto media and non-crypto sphere of interest.
Thank you very much for your valuable time and insights. We wish you much success in 2023 and happy holidays.
Well, also from my side, Heidi Oula ja head uut aastat. It's in Estonian, so Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jörn. Always a pleasure.
Well, happy holidays and a happy new year. Enjoy the time off with the families.
But that also gives the opportunity to rebalance life and therefore enjoy the next couple of days and have a good start in 2023.
That's all, folks. Find more news, streams, events, and interviews at www.startuprad.io. Remember, sharing is caring.
When you're an entrepreneur with a great idea, it can be daunting to find funding. Startup Raven takes the process out of your hands by helping entrepreneurs connect and learn about potential investors all in one place, without any long-filled forms or 1,000 questions. Sign up for early access at startupraven.com.